Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube video. Today I've made it out on a bit of a misty morning over to Dedham on the River Stour here to hopefully capture some lovely images of this river with obviously the trees around the area as well on the banks. Unfortunately the light is not really going to work this morning. It is a little bit misty but not as much as I was hoping for, and also with the thick cloud there's not going to be much of a sunrise, but it's a really good location to come to. I've been here with family once before, but never with my camera, so hopefully I'll be able to capture some good images today. So let's see what I come up with. So the first composition, I've come down off of the side of the bank here to get the camera relatively quite low, looking along the river, and as it bends round to the right hand side, got this overarching tree as well to frame up the image. Now there is a little bit of mist in the background of the image. Unfortunately I might be able to pull that out in post-processing, but it's not too bad. So I've got the 24-105 lens on, down quite low, ISO 50 at 24mm, about 20 seconds, 25 second image, working out really quite well at f11, so hopefully that image will work out well. For the next composition, I've walked a fair way down the river here to come up with a different composition. Now, when I've been looking online and researching this location, there's quite a sort of an iconic shot or a regular shot of these trees. Now, I'm not too sure what type of trees they are. I definitely know it's not an oak and it's not a silver birch. They're the two ones that I really know of, but anyway. It's a really interesting image. It's quite an interesting shaped tree because you can, with the shape of the trunks, you can actually look straight through the trunks. Whether or not it's two trees, I can't really tell from this position. But what I've got is I've taken an image with the camera in landscape orientation and also portrait orientation as well of the river here, working out really quite nice. Settings for the camera is about 24mm on the lens, f11, ISO 50 and about 3.2 seconds as the shutter speed. But that's the conditions that we've got today. There is some mist in the far distance, but not as much as I said earlier as I wanted in the foreground. But yeah, definitely no chance of a sunrise at all. The sun's due up now, but it is what it is, this location. And unfortunately as well, adding on to it, there seems to be some sort of civil engineering going on here, some construction or repair to the footbridge, which meant that I couldn't actually get over the other side of the river and then sort of do a bit of a circular walk back to the car. But yeah, well, that's just what it is when you come to these locations. You sort of predict it and plan it as much as you possibly can, but you can't predict when on what obviously it is actually going to be like on the ground here. And yeah, with this construction it's going to limit how far I can obviously go up and down and around this river, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing here to shoot, and it's just working with the conditions, as I've said many a times before, and hopefully we'll come away with some good images. Now this composition, I'm working on this subject of this tree here as well. Yeah, it's a little bit of a tricky one, to be fair. I don't like it in landscape orientation, so I've got the camera in portrait orientation to obviously take an image, and I'm thinking about probably taking a panoramic image as well, just so I can get the full sweep of the river at the same time. Now, settings pretty much the same, f11, ISO 50, this time though 1.6 seconds for the exposure time. I think that's balancing it out all right. 2 seconds was a bit too much and blowing out the highlights of the sky as well, so just trying to retain those. But I'll do a panoramic across, and I will also bracket that image as well, just so I've obviously got that information when I obviously compile the images back on the computer. But yeah, I'm loving the reflections here as well. It's very calm, very still, and obviously having the reflections of the tree and the branches in the water is working out really quite nice, I think. For the final composition, I've had a look around and got a different angle onto the main set of trees here on the river. Dropping the camera quite low, swapping over to the 17 to 40mm lens on as well. Trying to get obviously a little bit of the reflections that I've been after this morning as well, but also making sure that I keep the whole of the tree in the actual image. So working out really quite well. However, on this particular composition, I've had to focus stack. There's obviously some dead fallen trees in the foreground here, and where that's very close to the camera and obviously the trees are the other side of the bank, I'm focusing obviously on the side of the bank at f11, taking that image and bracketing as well, and then obviously refocusing onto the nearest part of this branch here, and again obviously taking the images as well. So the camera is set up on f11 as always, ISO 50. This time base image is half a second, but bracketing about 1.5 stops either side as well, so hopefully working out really quite well. Yeah, unfortunately the sun is well and truly up now, but yeah, no real colour. There's a little bit of hint of a little colour in the sky, but to be fair, I doubt that it's actually going to be anything to do with the compositions. And yeah, it's just interesting to be out. It's a good location. One that I've wanted to come to for many years now and never had the opportunity, and luckily enough today I have been able to get out here and done some images. And yeah, next time when I come back, hopefully with improved conditions, it will be really well worth it. With everything packed up now and going to be heading back to the car, it's worked out to be a really enjoyable shoot and a good scouting mission to come to this location. At least I know now exactly where these trees are and where the compositions are and which side of the river to be. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, with that bridge being out, it is going to limit the compositions today that I was able to capture. However, in the future, when I return and the bridge is obviously usable, I can get both sides of the river to take sort of images here as well, particularly as there's a bit of a bend here in the river, and to be frank, I'm probably the wrong side of the bend to actually get any sort of compositions with it. But yeah, there's obviously some good location. This is a good location to come back to, most definitely, and not too far from home, just about an hour's drive, so really doable for a sunrise location. And as the ground is quite open here as well and on sort of a bit of a floodplain, I believe, yeah, it's obviously quite good to obviously get the sunrise, I reckon, around this location. So maybe come sort of mid-spring time when the sunshine is and the sunrises are going to be at a good time with obviously some mist around, that would obviously be fantastic. But as I say, I've really enjoyed myself nevertheless coming here today. Hopefully you have as well. If you have, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment, as I really do enjoy those comments, and until next time when I'm back out and about, take care.